We welcome those of you watching the Buffalo-Cincinnati game to our halftime show. Bob Costas along with Bill McAtee. Let's check the scoreboard. A game of great importance today at RFK Stadium in the nation's capital. The winner is the champion of the NFC East. If the Redskins are the losers, however, at least they get a wild card. If the Cardinals are defeated today, they are out of the playoff picture. And as they come up to halftime, St. Louis's circumstances do not look good. It's 23-7 in favor of the Redskins. Joe Theismann has twice hit Art Monk with touchdown passes. Monk has 5 receptions in the half and even 100 for the season. The pro football record is 101 by Charlie Hennigan of the Houston Oilers back in the old AFL. Now, in the game you're watching, it looks like Sam Wyche's team will, in fact, put the pressure on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wyche and company came in today knowing if they beat Buffalo, then Pittsburgh would have to win at Los Angeles in order to keep them out of the playoff picture. It didn't start well for the Bengals. The game's first drive, capped by this 5-yard Greg Bell touchdown run. The rookie from Notre Dame gives Buffalo a brief 7-0 lead. But back comes Cincinnati. Buffalo punting out of their own end zone, and Mike Martin will return it 33 yards deep into Buffalo territory. In the process, umpire Gordon Wells will be wiped out. Martin collides with him, and then a Buffalo defender also smacks Wells. Down he goes. Fortunately, he wasn't seriously hurt, and he was able to continue. From that point on the field, the Bengals took it in on this 12-yarder from Ken Anderson to Chris Collinsworth to tie it up at 7. Collinsworth was a key man in the first half. This reception went for 27 yards down to the 1. And it set up a 1-yard Larry Kinnebrew touchdown run, which gave the Bengals a 14-7 lead. Collinsworth eventually departed with a twisted ankle. We don't know yet if he will play in the second half. Anderson threw 2 more touchdown passes, giving him 3 for the half, and a 28-7 lead for Cincinnati over Buffalo at Riverfront Stadium. Tampa Bay leads the Jets 17-7 in John McKay's swan song as the Buccaneers head coach. And it's an interesting situation. McKay's team, if they win today, will finish the year 6-2 at home, 0-8 on the road. This TD pass from Steve DeBerg to Jerry Bell, a 3-yarder, gave them a 17-0 lead. The Jets scored on a Ken O'Brien touchdown pass late in the half to close it up to 17-7. But if this score holds up, the Jets will finish the year as losers of 7 of their last 8 after opening at 6-2. Chicago playing at Detroit. The Bears lead at 14-6 at halftime. Greg Landry is at quarterback for the Bears, and he scored one of their touchdowns on a 1-yard run. But the Bears, Bill, know that the outcome of this game doesn't affect their playoff situation. They're in the playoffs. They get a first-round bye, but they play on the road 2 weeks from now against either San Francisco or the NFC East champion, regardless of what happens today.
And you mentioned the Jets. There also has to be a little bit of concern in New England. The Patriots, once 8-4, have lost their last 3 in a row, but they lead the 4-11 Colts by a score of 13-0. Colts today, of course, playing under Hal Hunter, the offensive line coach, who takes over for Frank Kush. The only touchdown of the first half was set up by the bounce of the football. Camarillo's punt goes inside the 5. It is hit there by Gary Padgett of the Colts, recovered by the Patriots' Ed Williams. That set up a 3-yard touchdown pass from Tony Eason to Lynn Dawson. It is 13-0. Cleveland and Houston. For the first time this year, the Oilers were the favorites, but they trail now at the half after the Browns led 10-0. Larry Moriarty scored from the 4 to close it to 10-7. Green Bay and Minnesota. The Packers have won 6 of 7, look strong since the midway point of the season. They are putting it on the Vikings. Lynn Dickey has scored 3 times, at least been involved in 3 touchdowns, thrown 2, and scored another on the ground. We want to turn for a moment to the Davis Cup final, the United States versus Sweden. There were those who felt that Sweden had a very real opportunity to upset the U.S. The first match of the day, Mats Wilander, ranked number 4 in the world, beat number 2 Jimmy Connors, 1-3-3. And just moments ago, John McEnroe, who is still troubled by that wrist injury, was beaten by Heinrich Sundstrom, 13-11, because there is no tiebreaker in the Davis Cup, 6-4 and 6-3. So the United States now trails 2-0. Robert?
Bill, let's go back to that Viking game, trailing 31-0 to Green Bay at halftime. On the pregame show, Pete Axthelm gave the Viking defense his Run for the Bus award. And the Vikes evidently are intent on proving Axe's point as they squander what remains of their season, trailing 31-0 at the half. Back after this from your local stations. Coming up in the second half of our doubleheader, a game the Pittsburgh Steelers might have to win in order to qualify for the playoffs. If Cincinnati beats Buffalo, the Steelers' backs will be to the wall. Here's a preview. Most of the country will see the Steelers-Raiders game from the Coliseum in L.A. The Steelers have dropped 3 of their last 5, but they are capable of playing very well at times. As a matter of fact, they handed San Francisco their only defeat in a 15-1 season. But quarterback Mark Malone knows that he, his receivers, and everybody else on the club will have to be at their best if they're to pull it off today.
The receivers are going to have to run very good routes. I'm going to have to throw the ball very well. We're going to have to get protection. It's going to be a combination and a culmination of everybody having a great day in order to, you know, defeat a football team like L.A. And I think we're capable of doing that.
Those receivers will run their routes against the league's best secondary with Lester Hayes and this man, Mike Haynes. On the offensive side of the coin, Marcus Allen leads the NFL in total touchdowns. The Raiders have won 4 in a row as they round into playoff form. Okay, Ahmad, a few weeks ago when the Raiders played the Dolphins, we talked about Hayes and Haynes covering Duper and Clayton. Today, it's Lips and Stallworth. Interesting.
It is a lot of challenges for these guys, Mike Haynes and Lester Hayes. The worst thing that ever happened to Lester Hayes is they got Mike Haynes. Now everybody throws the ball on him. But in being around Lips and Stallworth all week, these guys are excited going against the Raiders, which makes no sense to me because if I was them, I'd rather be playing Houston going into the playoffs.
You're thinking expedience rather than romance. Forget the challenge. Just get me to the playoffs any way I can.
That's right. Let me sit at home and watch them play against Duper and Clayton.
All right, let's turn over to Axe here. Until yesterday, it appeared that the Raiders might not have any practical incentive in the game. But now they do, because since the Seahawks lost to Denver, the Raiders know that they can host that wild card game next week against Seattle if they win today.
Bob, I'm glad at the late stage of this very complex weekend, you're still very much on top of the playoff possibilities.
Thank you so very much.
As far as the Raiders are concerned, they will try hard today. I expect them to beat Pittsburgh handily. But even if they didn't need this game for the home field, I feel that Al Davis and Coach Tom Flores have them peaking, have people getting back at the right time, and they want to roll into these playoffs off the 4 straight victories. I don't really think it even matters as much about the home field as just about they're the bully on the block again, and they're having fun.
You want to tease us with a pick, or does that have to wait till later?
I think we'll just tease you and make you wait while you work out the rest of the playoff possibilities.
Now, the suspense is probably more than the nation can bear, but in any event, we'll be back as NFL 84 halftime activities continue in just a moment.
This is Charlie Jones and Bob Greasy back at Riverfront Stadium. Halftime, Cincinnati leading Buffalo 28-7. Let's go back to the keys to the game.
Well, for Buffalo, it was motivation, and certainly they came out motivated when they took the ball right down the field and scored. But then Cincinnati said, enough of this. We want to get out there. We want to score early. That is what they have done. They have a big lead, 28-0. 28-7. And now they're thinking, we can come out the second half, and Buffalo may quit. Now, what Buffalo has to do, I think they have to come out and put more pressure on Kenny Anderson. He is set back there, and he's really tore him apart.
All right, now let's go to your quarterback quote that you talked about at the top of the game, and it seems to be holding up so far.
Well, I think they got to win this ball game, obviously. The Raiders are going to help them, they hope, by beating the Steelers, and if that happens, they'll win and wait, and they'll be in the playoffs.
Now, this game's not over, obviously. We got a second half to play. Can Buffalo get back in the ballgame?
Well, I think they can. I think they have to blitz and pressure Kenny Anderson, and offensively, they have to continue doing what they're doing, but just make some plays. They have not converted on enough third down situations to convert them into first downs.
Very quickly, is there a chance that Cincinnati might let down?
I don't think so. I think they're going to go right on out.
All right. So Cincinnati with a big lead at halftime, and we'll be back with the second half after these messages and a word from your local station.
WGRZ TV2 Buffalo.
In the first half, the score was tied 7-7. And at this point, Ken Anderson completed the following pass to Chris Collinsworth. Picked up 27 yards on the play to the 1-yard line.
You watch his left ankle. That's the one that was injured coming into the ball game. Carlos Romes, number 26, is going to fall on it right there. And I doubt very seriously if we'll see any more of Collinsworth the rest of the ball game.
From the 1-yard line, Cincinnati went in to score. Larry Kennebrew scoring his 10th touchdown of the year, and that put Cincinnati on top 14-7. Anderson prior to that had thrown a touchdown pass to Collinsworth, followed that touchdown with touchdown pass to Holman and then to Kreider. As we look at the statistics of the first half, weighed heavily on the side of the Cincinnati Bengals.
There's no turnovers. Both quarterbacks have thrown the ball pretty accurately and no fumble turnovers, but Anderson is making the most of it. Dufek has played well, but his supporting cast has not done for him what Kenny Anderson's has done for Kenny.
And I think the experience factor was very visible in the second quarter.
Well, that's the thing. That's why Kenny Anderson in there. When he is going well and when he has the time to throw the football, I don't think there's any better around.
Chuck Nelson kicking off. Martin and Jennings are deep. Here's Martin from the goal line. 15, 20, 30, 40, 42-yard line, and 42 yards on the return. Ryan Carpenter saves a touchdown.
Charlie, so much of special teams is attitude. Do you want to get down there and make the play? And I think it's been a long, frustrating season, and there's just too many Buffalo Bills that aren't getting around the football. Martin is one of the better return men in the league.
Here's James Bruck. And the Bengals come out smoking. Ryan Carpenter again for Buffalo. First down. Mark the ball at the Buffalo 44-yard line. So Cincinnati, they want to put the Bills away very quickly here in the third quarter.
Well, if we take a look at the possession, Cincinnati scoring on 4 of 5 drives. In the last 4, they've scored touchdowns, and they were 9, 8, and 10 plays the last 3 drives, so they controlled the ball as well as scored points with it.
Buffalo 44-yard line, first down. 14 yards in the last play. Here's James Bruck. Looks to the 37-yard line. He picks up 7. Second and 3. Ryan Carpenter again with the tackle. And by the way, congratulations to Ken Anderson's school, college. I was searching for a word. Augustana, Illinois. The NCAA Division III champions last 2 years in a row. They won it this year. Have a win streak of 24 straight. His alma mater. That's what I couldn't think.
All right.
Alma mater. Way to go, Augustana. Second and 3. Charles Alexander. First down, 33-yard line. Needed 3, got 4. Chris Keating with the tackle. Cincinnati going for the knockout here.
Well, I'm sure that Sam White's talked about it in the locker room. Let's go out and keep the momentum. Don't let Buffalo get back into this ball game. They've got them on the ropes, 28-7. If we can take the opening drive and go down and score, it's going to deflate any kind of motivation that Buffalo may have got coming out the second half.
First down, Buffalo 33-yard line. Alexander. 4 yards to the 29. Chris Keating with the tackle. Gain of 4, second down and 6. And Joe Ferguson loosening up on the sideline. Preston Denard is there with him.
It'll be interesting to see if Joe's going to come in the second half. I don't think Dufek has played that poorly, but maybe he wants to see what maybe Joe Ferguson can do for the Bills, what Kenny Anderson has done for the Bengals as far as the experience is concerned.
Well, Matt Kofler is also loosening up at the opposite end of Joe Ferguson, 15 yards away. So I don't know, Ferguson may be loosening him up. I'm not sure. We'll wait and see what's going to happen. Here's James Bruck. 24-yard line and pick up a 5 yards on the play. It'll be third down and 1. Rod Cush, the free safety, is the man who stopped the offensive thrust of Cincinnati. And that means, of course, that Larry Kennebrew will come in the short yardage situation. Officials have stopped the clock as Ken Johnson went to the sidelines as an injured player for the Buffalo Bills.
It was Matt Kofler, number 10. It's hard for me to tell which one is warming up in earnest, seriously, and which one is just playing catch.
James Brooks, the leading rusher for Cincinnati, 34 yards and 5 carries. The Bengals basically an air attack. But Kennebrew picks up the first down. 5 yards to the 19. with the tackle.
Charlie, there's a good battle going on inside there in the trenches with Dave Remington, the #1 draft choice last year of the Bengals, and Fred Smerlas, the 3-time Pro Bowler who didn't make it this year and was a little bit upset. But when you play on a team that hasn't done very well, only won 2 ball games, sometimes that happens.
Fishers are going to mark the ball at the 20, and here comes Charles Alexander. 8 yards, 12-yard line, 2nd down and 2.
76 is Smerlas as he jumps around. The guard blocks him. Good blocking by the offensive line. Good team blocking. You have to be a unit in that offensive line. 3 #1 draft choices. Munoz, Blados, and Remington right there together, all doing a good job.
Cincinnati not at all looking like a team that opened the season 0-5. Making a handoff pitch out to Brooks. Good defensive play. Darryl Talley was there.
Charlie, it's not how you play at the start of the season, it's how you play at the end of the season. Which team gets hot near the playoffs or into the playoffs. Here you'll see the 5 losses on the left side of your screen. The L's lost the first 5 ball games and then won 7 of their next 10. They're a hot football team right now.
Going for their 4th in a row. Who would have thought, though, when they opened 0-5, they'd have even a shot at it when they came down to this part of the season?
Well, obviously they wouldn't have had a shot at it had not Pittsburgh come back to them. Pittsburgh started off pretty well, but the whole division has been off this year.
3rd down and 8. Anderson releasing the pass. It is incomplete. Justice Kinney was dropped. Brooks, the intended receiver. So it will be 4th down and 8. Let's watch from ground level the pressure put on Ken Anderson.
Good look at Kenny Anderson as he's looking with those eyes. He is keying certain men down there in that secondary. He says, I'm not going to throw to the left because that didn't look too good. Now the coverage is there. He's got to get rid of the ball as Cush, 42, on a safety blitz, gets there just before he releases it.
An attempt of 36 yards by Jim Breach. Ryder to hold. He's got it. And Cincinnati stretches it out. The Bengals lead 31-7. We'll be back with a kickoff in just a moment. This is Charlie Jones, Bob Greasy, Jim Breach of Cincinnati, kicking off either Donald Wilson or Van Williams. Taken to the 1-yard line by Van Williams of the Buffalo Bills. Hit at the 16 and then just kind of spins his way out of bounds around the 21-yard line. The starting quarterback was Joe Dufek, and he is on the sideline. Number 10 is Matt Kofler, and that, of course, means that Joe Ferguson, the 12-year veteran, the Razorback, out of the University of Arkansas, is in at the start of the 2nd half, his first appearance in the ballgame. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised, Charlie. I think he's going to, Kay is putting him in there to see what he can generate for this offense and this team. If nothing happens, I suspect maybe later on he'll bring another young quarterback, but he's still trying to win this football game with a veteran quarterback.
Ferguson with pressure, steps out, he'll scramble. Couldn't make up his mind whether to slide inside or outside. He was looking at Bobby Kemp. Then he said, I'll just drop it here at the 29-yard line. But he scrambles for 8. It'll be 2nd down and a couple. The experience of a veteran in this situation, possibly better able to read what the defense is doing. Maybe can do what Ken Anderson is doing. Pick your receivers. Obviously, they're going to be throwing. And find some openings, get something going.
And he's been on the sideline the entire first half, so he has seen the charts, even the tendencies. He knows what they're liking to do. And he went in at halftime, coming out now he's fresh. He should have a good idea of what he wants to get done.
2nd down and 2. Little play action, frees the linebacker. Pass is dropped. Booker Moore. 3rd down and 2. In the first half, Buffalo took the opening drive. They moved 77 yards in 11 plays. Greg Bell scoring from 5 yards out for his 7th touchdown of the season. And since then, we haven't gone very far.
Well, they've made some first downs in 6 plays, and 7 plays, but the results have been the same. They had to punt each time. That look on Ferguson's eyes was kind of reminiscent of something that I used to do. You put the ball right in his hand, and it's easy. All he has to do is catch it.
I've done the hard part. I got it there.
Yeah.
3rd down and 2. Incomplete. Brookins, the intended receiver. Ray Griffin was there.
It's been a tough year for Ferguson. He has played well at times, but other times he's had some injuries, and it's been a combination of things. It's not on anybody, one person. If you're going 2-13, that's for sure.
Mike Martin, leading punt returner, 24-yard average in this game. Oh, good punt by John Kidd. Martin chases it back to the 50, goes down to the 10, slips the tackle, goes back to the 20, 30, 40. Oh, Mo!
He had one man to beat. He broke the tackle. Look at the tackling by the Buffalo Bills. He is heading straight north. The last man, John Kidd, gets just a piece of him to bring him down. You think these fans aren't into this game and this team and the excitement this city has after that 0-5 start as Kidd brings him down?
55-yard kick, 32 yards on the return. Later on today, Pittsburgh at the Raiders. If the Raiders win, Pittsburgh loses. That means that Cincinnati's in the playoff. That means also then the next step is that they would be playing at Denver against Denver. What are their chances?
Against Denver, yeah. I think their chances are pretty good because they have that momentum going. And I think if they can keep it going the rest of this ball game, they're going to be in good shape.
There was inadvertent tripping. The intended receiver was Kreider, and it is incomplete. Now, you mentioned an interesting point because what does Cincinnati have to play for from this point on? And that is a momentum to carry them 2 weeks.
Well, I think they've played very well. They've had the ball 6 possessions. They've scored 5 times, 4 touchdowns, and 1 field goal. I think what they need to do is just keep this feeling going. They don't want to get anybody injured, obviously, and go to Denver and play as well. They'll be 8-3 after this ball game if they finish out and win it.
Kennebrew. That's a surprise, carrying on 2nd and 10. He usually carries when it's 3rd down and 1. 45-yard line of Buffalo.
Get back to that point, Charlie. They'll be 8-3 in their last 11 ball games, and I think the key to the playoffs is who is hot in the playoffs. It's not who wins the first half of the season, but who is hot when the playoffs come. Miami was very hot early on. Now they're kind of having some problems, and the Raiders lost 3 games in a row in the middle of the season. Now they're coming on strong. And I think you'll have to think back a few years ago to the Raiders got in the playoffs as the wild card and then got very hot and won the Super Bowl.
Anderson to throw. Pass is complete. And then the ball goes loose. He may not have held it. Let's see. Are they going to rule it complete and then out of bounds on the fumble? Kreider had it. The fumble goes back out near the line of scrimmage. You'll end up about a yard on the play. Lawrence Johnson was there from the defense. So we 4th down and 3. Now, let me make a point. Because we are doing this game, we get involved in what Cincinnati is doing and where Cincinnati is going. For our viewers who are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, do not take an affront of the fact that we say if Pittsburgh loses to the Raiders, because we are addressing ourselves to what Cincinnati is doing. The announcers, Jay Randolph and John Brody, who will be doing the second half of the doubleheader, and that is the Steelers-Raiders game, they'll be addressing that fact. We're not, putting the Steelers down. They can defeat the Raiders. They defeated the 49ers in San Francisco. But again, going back to what you were talking about, the Steelers have been struggling of late.
Number 74, a penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
It's a good point, Charlie. And the Steelers, by no stretch of the imagination, are out of this one. They have a ball game to play. It's a tough ball game. We all know that. But they can still go out there and win the ball game. Cincinnati is doing all they can do. And Pittsburgh will have their opportunity after this ball game.
And if the Steelers do win, they are the champions. How would they stack up against the Denver Broncos?
I think they would be very well. Both teams, Cincinnati is playing very well. They've got the momentum, but Pittsburgh has played well in spots. And you never know what can happen once you get into the playoffs.
Pat McInally will be kicking to Donald Wilson. He goes for the corner, gets the roll. When you're hot, you're hot. 8-yard line. Everything is working today for the Bengals. 31-7. Cincinnati leads a 37-yard kick. We'll be back. He's been sick over the last 2 or 3 days. He's in street clothes. There he is. Takes up the whole street. Got a couple other reports for you, but first, this play for Buffalo from their own 8-yard line. Ferguson, a swing pass to Greg Bell. And Bell goes out of bounds at the 13-yard line, so he picks a 5, second down and 5. Ken Johnson, defensive end for Buffalo, pinched nerve. He is out of the ball game. And a report on Chris Collinsworth of the Cincinnati Bengals. The X-rays negative. He will not play the rest of the ball game. He is in the locker room with ice on that ankle. But a win, if Cincinnati goes on, then he's got 2 weeks to get well. So that's a little bit of good news for the Bengals. Second and 5. Ferguson fires, and it is intercepted at the 20-yard line. First turnover of the ball game. Robert Jackson down. His 4th interception of the year. Eddie Edwards was putting the pressure on. He go over the top to get that interception.
Ferguson was trying to get the ball to his tight end, Hunter. Hunter has not been in the offense that much, and he said when Dufek was playing, he was a lot happier about Dufek playing because it looked like he took it away from him.
Took it away from him. He did.
The ball was right there on his numbers, and he took it away from him.
He fumbles, and Buffalo has the football. So back-to-back turnovers. Eugene Marv, leading tackler for the Bills, recovers the fumble.
Turnabout is fair play, as they say. Marv has really had a good year as we look at Sam Whitestone. Eugene Marv has played well for the Bills for down through the years, doesn't get a lot of recognition. The leading tackler, as we take another look, see if we see the ball comes out much before he hits the ground. Marv, number 54, is right on top of it.
Buffalo has it back, first down at their 14-yard line. Ball was at the 13 when he threw the interception, so with the exchange, he picked up a total of a yard. Here's the draw, Greg Bell. Bell is pulled down at the 15. Gain of 1, second and 9. Jeff Shue wrapped him up.
Getting back to what I was saying about Tony Hunter, Charlie, he's been injured some this year, and he just gotten back off of that a few games ago, and really wasn't that much into the offense. And then the quarterback change was made in Dufek, and Hunter came out with some remarks that he felt like he was more a part of the offense with Dufek than he was with Joe Ferguson. Sometimes a quarterback will get in a system where he'll just look for certain people, and obviously you're going to throw to the ones that are open.
Greg Bell, 14 carries, 51 yards rushing, 1,093 on the year. Pass is complete to Booker Moore, 19-yard line. Gain of 4, third down and 5. Ron Simpkins with the tackle. Cincinnati taking anything deep away from the Bills. Let's check the scoreboard. Washington 13 in front of St. Louis, third quarter in that ball game. Tampa Bay leading the Jets 20-7. Chicago 14, Detroit 6. New England by 3 over Indianapolis Colts. They're coming back in that one. Cleveland 17, Houston 10. Green Bay way out in front of Minnesota, 38-7. And here it is Cincinnati 31, Buffalo 7. 5 minutes and 9 seconds to go, third quarter. Ferguson's pass complete. All alone was Julius Dawkins, and Dawkins has the first down at the 27-yard line. Gain of 8 yards on the play. Ray Horton and James Griffin with the tackle.
Julius was a little upset there. He didn't get any more yardage, but he got a first down and an opportunity to get some more.
First things first, they needed it. 3rd and 5. Don't forget, second half of the doubleheader. Some of you to see that game we've been talking about, Pittsburgh and the Raiders, and some of you will be seeing Kansas City against the San Diego Chargers. Kansas City's been a spoiler the last 2 weeks.
They've beaten both Seattle and Denver.
They both had Kansas City in a strong vote in the championship of the West. Ferguson's pass is complete. Booker Moore coming out of the backfield. 33-yard line, gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4. Ray Horton and Ron Simpkins for the defense.
It's really interesting that Booker Moore, as we look at Boomer Esiason with Turk Schonert, that Booker Moore is used, he is so big, such a big fullback, but is used more as a receiver out of the backfield than he is a runner. If they want to run the football, they give it to Greg Bell, and Booker is more of a blocker. You don't normally see that many big men as good receivers out of the backfield.
And the way of the pro football fullback is almost going away. Let's come back to that point. Second down and 4. Ferguson throws, pass is complete, first down, going to Rob Riddick on the far sideline. Reggie Williams was there for the defense, a gain of 7 to the 40, and it's first down. But with throwing to the backs coming out with the 3-man line, 4 linebackers putting pressure on, and the 1-back offense, you're getting away from the classic fullback mode that they still have in most colleges. But you don't have it in the pros. So good blocker, they're using the tight end or the H-back.
Well, all the personnel is changing, Charlie. Normally a nose tackle is about 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", weighs about 250 or 60. That man couldn't have played in a 4-3 line. Be too small.
They mark the ball at the 41-yard line. First down, Buffalo. Ferguson goes to Tony Hunter. And Hunter has a big first down. Still on his feet inside the 40. Fights his way to the 38-yard line. 23 yards on the play. Cincinnati territory. Ferguson has now completed 6 of 9 passes. Robert Jackson and Ray Horton make the tackle at the 38-yard line of the Bengals.
Bengals are on a blitz. You'll see the linebackers coming. Ferguson reads it, gets it to his hot receiver, something that the experienced Ferguson may be able to see a little bit better than Dufek. And then Tony Hunter makes good moves, just getting some extra yardage.
Hunter last week against the Jets, his biggest day in the pros with 7 receptions. First down at the Cincinnati 38-yard line. Ferguson's pass on target, 19-yard line. Mitchell Booker for a save. Are they going to mark him out of bounds? Ray Horton hit it. And what the official is saying, that if he comes down and he wasn't cut, he would have come down out of bounds.
Still has to come down with the ball out of bounds. His feet or his back in that case. Let's take another look. He still has to hit something on the ground and have the ball.
That's right.
And he never had the football.
So he never had possession.
Exactly.
Bring it back to the good call, quarterback. Well, you know when your receivers were catching it or not. You know all those receiving rules, don't
I'm good on the replay.
you? Second down and 10, 38-yard line of Cincinnati.
Here they come again.
Pressure, Bailey gets it off, almost intercepted. Robert Jackson almost pulled it down, and Ferguson was dropped, and a flag is dropped. And the penalty will be against the Bills. Illegal use of the hand.
They were blitzing again, Charlie, sending all their linebackers, which means single coverage in the secondary. If you can block them up front, you can usually get some big business done downfield, but that time the rush got there before he got the ball off.
Jim Krumrie and Ross Browner are getting to Joe Ferguson just as he released the ball. And that catches you in that awkward situation when you have that arm up and that whole rib cage is open.
Illegal use of hands, number 73 on offense. Second down.
John Borchardt is man called for holding, 73, but you'll see there, as you said, Charlie, his arm was up.
And Ross Browner, I think he caught him with his hand, didn't he? Oh, that can hurt.
Stunt inside, the linebacker's crossing. That's when it's not fun to play anymore. People say, do you miss playing quarterback? And I said, no, I don't. The only time I miss it is when I've got an open receiver 30 yards downfield and all kinds of time to throw. Now that's when I don't miss it right there.
The penalty takes the ball to the 48-yard line. The down goes over. It'll be second down and 20. In penalties, Buffalo 7 times for 60. Cincinnati 4 for 20. Bengals will go now with a 4-man rush, 6 in the secondary.
It's interesting. They were starting to pressure Ferguson when he's in there. See if they continue it with Dufek.
Now, one of the reasons that Dufek is in, if Ferguson stayed in, it would cost a timeout. He just changed into one play and throws it out. That's offensive pass interference. The way that you look at it, Bobby Kemp was the man who was brought down by Mr. Booker, is that the defender in the secondary is same as another receiver. The opposing team cannot bother him, knock him off of the ball.
Number 26.
They're going to call it on Kemp. Oh, I want to see the replay on this.
Well, the offensive man, Charlie, was going for the ball. So was the defensive man. Take another look. You can't see it from that look, but you see what happened.
He was going over the top,
Kemp
made
was
contact.
going over, and they were both going for the ball. Maybe we can see it better from here. The receiver right there. Yeah, they were both
Good
going
call.
for the
Good
ball.
call.
But
Erase my statements. Erase my statements. 32-yard penalty. First down, 16-yard line. Back in the corner, has a man. It's there. Touchdown, Buffalo. Byron Franklin. The Bills creeping back into the ballgame. They have a ways to go.
Well, Charlie, it's interesting. Dufek had been on the sidelines since the start of the second half, which gave him a chance to settle down a little bit, look at the things from the sidelines, see what the coverages were, and then when Ferguson was injured, he had an opportunity to come back and play some more. And I often think that it's good to take him out of the ball game and settle him down and then put him back in.
An 86-yard touchdown drive for the Bills. Extra point is good by Chuck Nelson. So the score is Cincinnati 31, Buffalo 14. For Byron Franklin, that is his 4th touchdown on the season. For Joe Dufek, that is his 4th touchdown pass. Franklin, the leading receiver for the Bills. We'll be back with a... 2 minutes and 3 seconds. That is the time remaining. Third quarter, Riverfront Stadium. Cincinnati 31, Buffalo 14. A Cincinnati victory combined with a Pittsburgh loss, second half of the doubleheader against the Raiders, would mean that Cincinnati is in the playoffs as the champions of the Central Division. Should Pittsburgh win, then they will be the champions. So don't go away. We've got a lot of football left on NBC this afternoon. This one will be down in the end zone by Stanford Jennings, and Cincinnati has the ball on their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Now, 31-14 lead, just under 2 minutes to go in the third. Kenny Anderson still in. When do you go to Boomer Esiason?
Well, I don't think you go to him here, Charlie, because Buffalo has just scored, and they've got a little momentum. If Buffalo would stop the Bengals and force them to punt, and they take it right back in, I think Sam Weiss would feel like, hey, we've lost something. So you leave your main guy in there until there's no doubt about the outcome. Of course, the other hand, you don't want to get Anderson hurt.
Larry Kinnebrew, the ball carrier. Now, We mentioned not too long ago that he was carrying on first down the option in the field, Darrell Talley getting the call. And a pickup of around 8 yards on the play, second down and 2. Normally you see Larry Kennebrew with 558 yards rushing, 4-yard average coming in the ballgame. Basically in short yardage situations, touchdown in this ballgame, total of 10. That's a lot of words to get to the fact that Cincinnati, they're already working on the clock. And Kennebrew is the man that they have chosen to carry the ball. He doesn't fumble a lot. Picks up good chunks of yardage. Let's run it down a little. 8 carries, 32 yards. Kennebrew, here he comes again. Boy, the crew takes everybody with him when he goes out, doesn't he?
Number 59, David, is a small linebacker. He only weighs about 210 pounds. He's a rookie out of Texas Tech. There's a strong safety there. He's playing today at linebacker because the injuries to the linebacking core, and they're running right at him. The big Kennebrew at the small David, and he's going to be a good ball player. He just needs to bulk up a little bit in the offseason.
Gain of 10 yards, first down for the Bengals on their own 38-yard line. Cincinnati leading 31-14. And here's Jennings. 45-yard line, a pickup of 7, so it'll be second down and 3. Steve Freeman with the tackle. So now Buffalo's got to take the runaway. They cannot allow a long, time-consuming drive by Cincinnati.
One thing Cincinnati has always done, and that is play a lot of people. They play a lot of running backs. They play a lot of wide receivers, and they get in all their tight ends, so you never know who's coming at you.
Officials spot the ball at the 44-yard line. The music tells the story. We're in a countdown to the quarter. Double zeros are up. That is the end of the third quarter. The score, Cincinnati 31, Buffalo 14. And we'll be right back to Riverfront Stadium after these messages from your local station. This is Charlie Jones, Bob Greasy. We open the fourth quarter. 15 minutes of action remaining in the season for the Buffalo Bills. 15 and possibly more for the Cincinnati Bengals. Larry Kennebrew. Buffalo 46.
I'm impressed with Kennebrew. Did you see the way he just dove for that extra yardage? Did a little flip and came up on his feet. Here we'll see 76. Smurl is fighting Remington up front.
That's a nice move. Now Kennebrew 6'1", listed at 252. Remember that. And we really think he's about 10 pounds heavier. 52 yards and 10 carries. 5.2-yard average for the Brew. First down, Buffalo, 46-yard line. And we have jumping. Smurlus made contact. Now, he may have been drawn off. We'll have to wait and see.
Encroachment, number 76 on the defense. First down.
That's the second time that he's been now. Notice the pointing. Now, there's a little fine note, and we will be happy to explain that to you because the offensive center, Dave Remington, puts one hand on the football. The other one is over on his knee, and you can kind of just make
you don't want to incriminate anybody here, Charlie, but sometimes sometimes the offensive linemen will maybe open and close their hand exactly when the quarterback will say a hut, and it may be on 2, and they'll do that on their first one, and something's moving there to get Smurlus moving.
First down and 5, and Kennebrew gets the Bengals moving. He picks up about 4 yards on the play.
Joe's not in a very good mood. Fred Smurlus is not in a very good mood anyway because the Pro Bowl balloting was last week, and this was the first year that he hasn't made the Pro Bowl. And he feels like he's had a pretty good season. Of course, the Bills at 2-13, you're not going to get many Pro Bowlers off of that team. But one of the men that got in the game, Joe Nash, at nose tackle, is from Boston College, and of course he is too.
On the sideline, left 15-yard line on crutches. The ovation is for Chris Collinger. Wilmer Esiason comes in at quarterback. There was a dual ovation. And for Jennings. Part of the ovation, of course, was for Ken Anderson coming out. He said, when would Boomer come in? I said, when would I asked the question, and you said he would come in with 13:35 to go in the fourth quarter.
Well, Anderson's had a good afternoon. There's no doubt about that. And I think Sam probably feels pretty secure right now. Boomer is a very good quarterback, and he gave him good field position when he put him in. I like that. I mean, I'd love to start every drive on the other team's 34-yard line.
First and 10. Buffalo 32.
Pass is complete. Isaac Curtis.
His first reception in 6 games. His 12th of the year, coming to the end of a truly great career for this outstanding athlete from San Diego State.
Well said, Charlie. He has been an outstanding receiver, and things have really not gone that well for him this year as we take another look at Boomer, the rookie, throwing to the veteran Isaac Curtis.
Curtis being brought out, and he'll receive an ovation. And Sam White is out to greet him at the 40-yard line.
But Isaac, even when things didn't go as well, was not a rebel rouser. He didn't talk about, didn't cause problems for the team. He was a team player first.
Fumble on the snap by Boomer. Isaac picks it up. Down at the 27-yard line. He'll lose a yard on it.
Like the ball hit him right in the hands, and Boomer may have been moving a little quick. Learn to get down, Boomer.
The center now is Bruce Kozerski, rookie from Holy Cross, taken in the 9th round.
Which makes a difference. New quarterback and new center. Would have had some extreme problems.
That's the bad news. The good news is, though, they work together on the scout team, putting the other team's plays. Boomer throws, far side. One-handed grab by Strider, and a flag is thrown. Steve Strider. Oh, great reception.
See that little, it looked like he was asking for some applause as he ran near the sideline.
This game now developing into a series of seasonal highlight moments.
Offside, number 76, defense. A penalty is refused.
Fine catch.
It's first down.
Goes over the side and says, well, what about that? Do you think that was a pretty good catch? What is this?
Ball at the 20-yard line of Buffalo, first down. 11:44 left of the season for the Bills. Cincinnati out in front, 31-14. They're throwing that much, are you?
Well, no, I'm not, Charlie, because Boomer's size and needs to work. I was surprised he threw that ball because he waited too long to get rid of it. It was double coverage. He could have thrown a lot sooner, but these are the things that his size and his lot has got to learn. He's going to learn it. Just a matter of getting him in there and getting the experience.
Second and 10, 20-yard line.
That are getting the playing time and making these plays, as far as their development is concerned, it's very important.
5th touchdown of the year for the rookie Stanford Jennings from Furman, taken in the 3rd round of the draft. Ryder to hold, Jim Breach to attempt the point after, and Bruce Kozerski is the center. And it's done. 38-14, Cincinnati with 11:34 left to go. An 80-yard drive in 12 plays as the Bengals put this one away. We'll be back with the kick. The celebration has started in Cincinnati. Breach kicking off. Van Williams with the return for Buffalo. Van is to the 15, to the 20. Fighting his way out of that. 24 yards on the return. Pushing and shoving. That's just kind of frustration at this time of the year. Nothing more, nothing less. Jimmy Turner for the Cincinnati Bengals.
You got that right, Charlie. The Bengals are feeling good. They've won their last 4. It's almost been like a playoff game each week for them because they couldn't lose. They were 2 games behind with 4 to go with the Steelers. They've won all 4, and they're hoping that maybe later on we'll see these 2 games here, Pittsburgh and the Raiders, or Kansas City at San Diego, the second half of the doubleheader, that good things may come to them. But it's been like a playoff game every week for them.
Buffalo from their own 27-yard line, first down. Dufek throws. Pass is complete to Riddick. Watch at the 33-yard line. James Griffin and Ray Horton got it. Gain of 6, second down and 4. Now, we've talked about Cincinnati, what they're playing for from this point on. Continuing momentum. They're up. They're hot. Everything seems to be working their direction. What about Buffalo? Their offensive team is on the field. They're down 38-14. They're coming to the end of their season.
Well, it's been a difficult season for them, Charlie. We'll get back to that after this play.
Incomplete.
It's been a difficult season, obviously. They've had some injuries. I think the key injuries that they've had has been to Butler, Jerry Butler, who hurt his knee last year, and then Frank Lewis, who was a fine wide receiver, couldn't make passes physical, so he didn't come back this year. They've had other problems. The running game hasn't been there early on. It's come on now with Greg Bell doing so well. The pass protection wasn't that well. Kay Stevenson has said that, sometimes our pass protection hasn't been there. Sometimes the quarterbacks haven't played well. It's been a combination. The pass rush has not been there all year. And then, they've had trouble with their place kicker. So it's been a real team effort.
Dufek is completed 15-21. Goes deep. They'll rule it incomplete. John Simmons came up with the ball. Preston Denard, the intended receiver. Wrestling match for it at the 27-yard line. We'll bring it back. It'll be 4th down and 4.
Dufek is going to air this one out. He has double coverage, as you can see. Just trying to go up and make the play.
He was close to pass interference on Simmons' part, reaching over above the helmet.
Yeah.
But it wasn't called, so it wasn't pass interference.
I think Simmons knew that he didn't catch it because he stood up and didn't run right away. But there are some positives for the Bills, Charlie. I mean, Greg Bell has had a great year. He came on late and then really has been playing very well. The win over Dallas showed that when they get it all together, they can play. And Byron Franklin's had a big year, catching a lot of passes. And they can get some people back next year, get the injured people back, and have a good draft. I think they can really challenge.
4th and 4 from the shotgun. Dufek pass, high, tip, incomplete. 38-14, Cincinnati leading. 4th down and 4. Why not go for it? 10:54, time remaining. Cincinnati taking over on down at the Buffalo 33-yard line.
Kay Stevenson is really high on Joe Dufek. I know he's got a strong arm. He's very intelligent. He can only get better with this playing time.
The ball at the Buffalo 33-yard line. I look now to see Larry Kennebrew, number 28 from Tennessee State. Carries to the 26-yard line, picks up 7. 2nd down and 3. Donald Wilson with the tackle. Kennebrew punishes a defensive player.
As a defensive back, you're kind of hoping that 2 or 3 linebackers are hanging on to him by the time he gets back to you.
At least you've slowed him down a little. Not kicking Buffalo on that last time, of course, because of the score situation. In reality, it does add one more factor to the ball game, and I'll tell you what it is right after this play. Here's James Brooks. 24 yards, first down, goal to go. Maybe a little groin pull.
I think you got it exactly, Charlie. He's limping a little bit when they hurdled that defender back there. What a great run, though. This shows you a little bit of the ability and talent. He's a fine receiver, but a good runner. You know, that's very dangerous to do, start hurling people when somebody else is right near you.
Pretty good hurdler, too. Nice form. Look at that. Right leg lead. Won't challenge Edwin Moses. And just for those of you that have been pro football fans for many years, you know, that used to be illegal. They changed that rule a few years back. First down and goal to go, and Cincinnati will take a timeout. So we'll be going away. 9:24 left to go in the ball game. Bengals out in front, 38-14. Remember that story about a special? On the near sideline. The good news is that the X-rays were negative on that left ankle. That's the one that's been bothering him. And he hurt it on a 27-yard reception, fought his way to the 1-yard line that set up the touchdown by Kennebrew in the first half that broke the tie at 7-7. There's a fumble, and the Bills come up with a football. Kennebrew fumble.
Charles Rome comes up with the recovery.
So he has a little candle on his birthday cake. He's 30 years old today.
Right. Happy birthday.
So here's another look at the fumble.
Never had possession.
Just hop loose. And we'll be back to Riverfront Stadium in a moment. Kofer on the sideline. The quarterback is Joe Dufek. The Bills, with this loss, will have the #1 draft choice in the National Football League. There's been a lot of speculation. The Bills think they'll have too much. Everybody's asking about it. Will it be Doug Flutie? Could be.
Well, I think that's something they have to decide, Charlie, whether Dufek, number 19 right here, is going to be the answer, whether Ferguson is or whether Matt Kofer, who is standing on the sideline next to Ferguson, is. But certainly they're going to have the first draft choice, and whether it's Flutie or anybody else, they have to find out about their quarterbacks. And, you know, it's been a tough season for Ferguson. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, but, you know, he took his demotion with a lot of class. He's helped Dufek whenever he could. He's not as mobile as he once was, but
none of us are.
You gotta wonder, would he be willing to come back next year as a reserve, as a backup situation? You know, we mentioned about Kenny Anderson, and Anderson said it would maybe be best for him, maybe best for his future. Maybe that's the same case with Ferguson.
Second down and 6, pass is incomplete. Now what happened there is Brookins was the intended receiver. He read the defense to give him the inside route, and Dufek read the defense to give him the outside, and in reality they were on the same page, but one of them had the book upside down.
What is happening now in professional football, as you see him talking about it, is they're giving the receivers a lot of options. They have to read the coverage. If you read the coverage, you run to the way the defensive man is not there. So if he reads it wrong and the quarterback reads it differently, obviously you're going to have, but there's more options. There's more indecisiveness on the part of the receivers. That's why you can't be a young receiver or a young quarterback and be on the same page all the time. You have to be in there at the experience we've talked about.
Third down and 6. There it is. Riddick has him, and he steps out of bounds. Picks up the first down about the 17-yard line. James Griffin was there for the defense. Going out of bounds, stops the clock. 9:01 is the time remaining. Now, Buffalo started this drive at their 5-yard line. Buffalo's best field position to start a drive today throughout the whole ball game has been their own 27-yard line. The 17-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Rush comes over the middle to Ryan Franklin. Franklin goes to the 20-yard line. defensively, what is Buffalo doing now? They're going to run a little hurry-up offense here. Cincinnati is going to give him the short stuff underneath, not let them go long.
Oh, of course. They're just sitting back in zones, and he's increasing his accuracy right here.
And his footwork, and he gets sacked at the 5. Tim Crumry got him, his 5th sack of the season, 2nd sack of the ball game for Cincinnati.
Crumry was kind of looking at him with an evil eye, like he was. Crumry, the wrestlers, will look in the middle of your screen. He's run right around 53 Grant. And now the ball should be gone. When you see that the party's over with, you got to get rid of the ball, but he looks at him when he gets up. Of course, Crumry was the ex-wrestler, last state high school champion, and he says, I'd like to wrestle in your class. Well, Dufek probably weighs 215. He was probably a heavyweight, Crumry.
3rd down and 21, 6-yard line. Side and incompleted. That time Dufek had to get rid of the ball. He was running out of time. Ray Griffin had the coverage on the far side. So in reality, he was throwing that one away.
Well, of course, as a defensive lineman, these situations you just love. You know they have to throw, and you want to get after them.
Remember I told you there was another story going on here today? Well, he's on the field right now. Number 88, Mike Martin, came into the ball game leading punt returner in the National Football League. With what he has done today, he will win that title for the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike Martin out of the University of Illinois in his 2nd year. There he is. And the statistics for 1984. Picks this one off at the 45. He has 5 yards. Has 10 yards on this return.
I think if I was the Bengals, I would get him out of there now since this game has been decided and keep him healthy for a possible playoff.
I want him to leave him in so we can mention that fact, though. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in a moment. Cincinnati leads. The statistics for Mike Martin. 15.7-yard average. 24 punt returns, his longest being 55. Number 1 punt returner in the National Football League. John Farley, the rookie out of Cal State Sacramento, the ball carrier.
Well, Charlie, we have 2 of the youngest head coaches in the National Football League here today, and one of them, Kay Stevenson, with the cap on there as you see him talking to Dufek. A couple years ago, he was an assistant for Chuck Knox. When Chuck Knox left Buffalo and went to Seattle, Chuck Knox took all of his assistants with him, most all of them, and Kay Stevenson had to go out and get his own assistants. We'll take a look at this panel after this play.
Play action fake. Larry Kinnebrew. About the 38-yard line. He'll pick up about 6. Go ahead.
Kay Stevenson has been the head coach for 2 years. He's been with Buffalo 7, but he's been the head coach 2. Miller McCollum has been there 5, but all the other ones, Milt Jackson, Don Lawrence, they all came either last year or this year. So what Kay Stevenson had to do is go out and find all these different assistants. Chuck Knox took it with him. So what you end up doing is coaching the coaches, your philosophy, and then they coach the players. It's a very difficult situation to go out and get different coaches of different philosophies and mold them into your own.
3rd down 3. Jerry Williams, the intended receiver. Here's a note, program note. Shortly, those of you watching this game in Pittsburgh and Kansas City will be leaving us. You'll be joining the Steelers-Raider game or the Chiefs-San Diego Chargers game, and we'll keep the rest of you informed on this game throughout, of course, the rest of the afternoon on NFL 84. They'll be updating what is happening here, kind of tying this story together. And if we have early scores in that ball game, for those of you watching the end of this one, then we will do that. And then most all of you then will be joining one of the games in the second half of the doubleheader. 4th down and 3.
Just to finish my story, Charlie, on those assistant coaches, I think that's one of the reasons Chuck Knox has been so successful at Seattle, because he has had all the same coaches and the same philosophies with him all along. Of course, they've got good players also.
Donald Wilson set to return the punt of Pat McInally. Back catch is called for and taken at the 11-yard line. So Buffalo will have possession at their 11-yard line following a 28-yard kick with now 6 minutes and 6 seconds left to go in the ball game. Cincinnati leading 38. State, he's listed as the third quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals with shoulder hurt, and you'd have to say in reality he's the fourth quarterback.
And the son of Bonnie Clark, the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
Buffalo's ball, their own 11-yard line. First down and 10. Dufek's pass tipped, intercepted. John Simmons on the return. 5-yard line, end zone, touchdown. To 14. It's good. For John Simmons, his first touchdown as a Cincinnati Bengal in his 4th year.
This is one of the things you do when you're behind and you're just trying to catch up and make some plays. You wouldn't ordinarily throw that ball, but also I think you're not as bad as the score is going to indicate, nor is Cincinnati as good. He wouldn't have been throwing it, but it's a big play for Simmons. The ball is going to be deflected, the old tip ball drill, and the defensive backs are right there. You got to give them credit for making the play.
43 yards on the return. He got some pretty good blocking from his teammates, too.
Not bad.
A moment of levity. This is when I feel we ought to have what National Football League, as I call, the uncle rule.
Yeah.
Buffalo comes out and hollers uncle. We run the rest of our commercials, and that's it.
Yeah. It's been a tough year for the Bills.
Don't forget the second half of the doubleheader. Pittsburgh, the Raiders, Kansas City, San Diego. As Breach kicks off. Van Williams on the return. On the 20-yard line. Jimmy Turner with the tackle. And Joe Dufek will come back in. One of the things that you've talked about, we've talked about in other ball games that have gotten out of hand in the second half. One thing that Dufek needs is to take a lot of snaps in a game. It's different than practice, or it's different than preseason.
Everybody reacts differently. Like we saw a little earlier, the center snap for the Bengals. You said they work on the scout team, but that is just a little bit different than being out here with a guy over your nose that's going to slap you upside the head.
Washington leading St. Louis by 6 in that ball game. Dufek's pass is dropped. Booker Moore, the intended receiver. Ray Horton was nearby for Cincinnati. It'll be second down and 10 at the Buffalo 20-yard line. 5:34. That is the time remaining. Kenny Anderson, he's checking the clock also.
We talked about Kay Stevenson a little earlier. Sam White's the other young coach has done a great job. He started off 0-5. He replaced Forrest Gregg, who Forrest really drove the players, worked them a lot harder. And Sam's attitude is almost get yourselves ready. It's more of a finesse. He came from Bill Walsh in San Francisco. He's a great teacher, really a master of the passing game, and he wants them to get themselves ready. When he came, he said, I'm not a puppet of Paul Brown. He says, but if he's got something to say, I'll listen. And I think that's some wise words from a young head coach that respects Paul Brown and what he's done for the ball game.
Third down and 6 for Buffalo. There's the time remaining. The ball on the Bills' 24-yard line. Then we have a little jumping and flags flying. A moment ago, we saw a shot on the sideline of Ken Anderson. If I keep one picture of Ken Anderson in my mind, it is at the end of the Super Bowl that the Cincinnati Bengals were in. They lost against the 49ers. Very close ball game, hard fought, had a chance to win it, the goal line stand. Remember him walking off at the end of the ball game with his son on his shoulder. So I think Ken Anderson, he really has his priorities in order. He's a neat young man. I like him.
Well, he's a good man, like you say, Charlie. He smiles a lot more off the field than he does on the field. He's very serious on the field, but you really have to like him. If you got to know him, you'd really like him off the field. I called him a couple of weeks ago when I was doing a game, and he was cooking chicken, barbecuing chicken, and all of his kids they were all running around and almost dropped the chicken, and the kids were helping him. Just a nice young man.
With the penalty, third down and 1. This pass is dropped. Mitchell broke it. Very catchy.
Dufek's doing all he can, as we see. Not only is he gaining from this, but the receivers have to gain something from it too. Very catchable pass. Brookins with great speed.
And it'll be fourth down and 1. And of course, with the score 45-14 and just over 5 minutes left, Buffalo's in a 4-down situation. As we've seen, they've been in one for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Tony Hunter in motion. And Greg Bell picks up the first down. He has 6 yards to the 35-yard line. Bobby Kemp makes the tackle. I wonder how much yardage Greg Bell would have had if Buffalo would have not been out of so many ball games early, because you have to go to the passing mode to play catch-up. Yeah, I'm impressed with him. I saw him in preseason. I was impressed with him then.
I think he got off to a slow start because he was injured so much in college, and then once he got the system down and really got into the flow of the offense, he's done very well. Really look for him to have a big year next year, having known the system and being healthy.
First down, Buffalo, their own 35-yard line. 4:19 and counting, time remaining in the game. Cincinnati leading 45-14. This pass is complete to Franklin, and he falls forward to the 49-yard line. He picks up 14 yards in the first down. Ray Griffin with the tackle. Now, to remind you again, in case you missed it, and I don't know how you could have missed it, and that is the fact that Cincinnati with the win, this puts them in the position that should the Raiders beat the Steelers. Well, the celebration has started with a big smile, and that's Brian Blados on the sideline, rookie, first-round draft choice. Flag is down. Pass is complete to Speedy Neal. He's close to the first down marker. But just to wrap that up one more time, if the Raiders defeat Pittsburgh, Cincinnati will be the champions. Second half of the doubleheader on NBC. If the Steelers beat the Raiders, the Steelers will be the champions. So it all comes down to, as you said with your quarterback quota, win and a wait. And so Cincinnati has this one in the book. They have the first half-year quota win. Now they have to wait and see. And the Bengals have a record. If they do go on to win the championship, the record in the division is 8-8, and that'll be the worst record for a division champion in NFL history. The closest one, Minnesota, back in 1978. They won the NFC Central Division. Their record was 8-7-1.
There's been a lot of talk in Miami, Charlie, about if the Dolphins do have the best record, which it looks like they probably will if they beat the Cowboys, that they should be able to play the team with the worst record in the AFC.
Rather than a wild card.
Rather than a wild card. It just so happens that the wild card this year has a better record than a division champion. And of course, the other side of that coin is then you would have teams in the same division playing each other, and they try to get away from that.
Get away from that. 3 minutes, 37 seconds left to go in this game here at Riverfront Stadium, the 16th of the season. Chance to remind you that today's telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Bengals and the National Football League is prohibited. Second down, 15, 44-yard line.
Got to give a lot of credit to that man right there, Sam White, for hanging in, sticking with his ideals, sticking with his players.
And it is incomplete.
can think back 10 or 11 weeks to the time when the Cincinnati Bengals were 0-5 in the heat that Sam Weitz was taking, and they were used to winning in this town, and a lot of things weren't going right, but he stuck by his guns and did what he felt was right and turned them around, and then they had some problems. They've had some people depart. Dan Ross left, and had some other people go to the USFL. They had a coaching change, obviously, so the players really need to get into the system, and they lost Ken Riley, their defensive back. He was a leader for them.
James Griffin with the interception. He was winning. He's got it. Touchdowns. One last year, 49 yards. This one, 56 yards. He's on a streak. One a year, touchdown here. That's not too shabby.
Yeah, but why do you wait till the last game? Do it a little earlier, right?
51-14. Here's the extra point. Breach to make the attempt. It's good. It was 7-7 at the end of the first quarter, 28-7 at the half, 31-14 after 3, and now it's 52-14.
Dufek didn't even see Griffin coming from the right side. And what you're seeing right here now is two teams at the opposite ends of emotional roller coaster, because there aren't many Bills that are very interested in playing the rest of this ball game. As you can see, not many going over to make the tackle. The Bengals are going, hopefully, into the playoffs, and the Buffalo Bills are going home. And all they're concerned about right now is Buffalo is not getting injured. They want to get out of this ball game and just get home. Of course, the Bengals are hoping for some good things later on this afternoon.
Cincinnati 52, Buffalo 14. Dufek serving up 2 touchdown interceptions. The first to John Simmons, the second that you just saw to James Griffin. Not a bad average, you know. 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and spread a year apart. Here is Breach kicking off. Donald Wilson on the return. Near the 30-yard line. I want to address, this is a commentary. This is my opinion. There's been talk that this would be the end of the road for Kay Stevenson as a head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I don't want to get into it. I don't think that's our decision. I think it's a Buffalo Bills decision. And there's been a lot of talk of people that they've talked to and that type of thing. I like Kay. I think he's a good man, but I don't want to get into it.
It's been a tough year for him. But let's look back to last year. Last year they were saying he was 8-8 with a team that had a lot of injuries, and they were calling Kay Stevenson the best young head coach in the National Football League. Things haven't gone that well. Now, you don't lose being the best in 1 year. But like you say, that's not for our decision, but it's been rumored that...
Pass complete to Booker Moore. But I just wanted to mention, because somebody might say it's something that we're avoiding.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, there it is. And we're avoiding it.
Yeah. Well...
Because they're not going to listen to my opinion anyway. Nobody in my house listens to my opinion. Why would they listen to it in Buffalo? Here's Dufek. Pass is complete. Clock moving on his countdown. 2:33. Jimmy Turner, Reggie Williams for Cincinnati.
Now, what the Bengals are going to do, they're going to go in and take a quick shower. And as soon as they can get out of that locker room, they're going to get home or get to somewhere where it has a TV set, and they're going to plop in front of that TV set and watch the Steelers and pull for the Raiders. Now, can you imagine teams in the National Football League pulling for the Raiders? I don't think there are many around that's going to pull for the Raiders, but the Bengals will be one.
You and I are going to be doing the same thing. We're going to get to a television set to watch that game. The reason that we want to know is we're doing the wild card game next weekend between the Raiders and Seattle, and it'll be either in Seattle or the Raiders. We know the teams, but we don't know the locale.
Seattle.
And again, congratulations to Denver. That's great that they're winning.
Be in Seattle or L.A.
Seattle or L.A. What did I say?
The Raiders.
Oh, well, Raiders and Los Angeles are same words on it. Thank you, though, for that correction. 44-yard line of Cincinnati. Is incomplete, and a flag was dropped at the 31-yard line. That stops the clock with 2 minutes and 6 seconds left to go. We're kind of a strange, topsy-turvy year in the National Football League. In the American Football Conference, Miami off. I thought they had a shot at going undefeated. New England, I thought, would take a stronger run at them. I thought the Jets would play stronger in the East. I thought the Central Division would be just as competitive, but I thought there would be more numbers on the win side than the loss side. And I think without a doubt that the AFC West is the best division right now as a complete division, the National Football League. We have Kansas City and San Diego, two very good ball clubs, battling for last place.
Yeah, exactly. And the strength has been in the West. The Central has been really a weak division this year, and really the East has not been that strong.
But then what you said earlier, let's go back. It is from here on, it's the teams that are on the roll at the end of the season that continue that roll through the playoffs. Third down and a couple. There's the first down. Booker Moore on the receiving end. Ray Horton with the tackle. We won't have one here. It's 52-14, but we have something for you at home. Here comes another of those fantastic finishes that we've been talking about, the second half of the doubleheader. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Raiders, that game already underway in the Coliseum in Los Angeles, and they're about 10 minutes into the first quarter in, actual wristwatch time, but not that much in playing time, probably 4 or 5 minutes with no score. And Pittsburgh Raiders, Kansas City, San Diego, second half of the doubleheader on NBC. 2 minutes to go. Dupek's pass is complete. Bookins is dropped by James Griffin, who just a moment ago had the interception for the touchdown. A gain of 8 yards on the play, second down and 2, 32-yard line. And there's the clock. It's an extrable countdown. This pass is complete. Byron Franklin picks up the first down. The clock continues to move. Reggie Williams makes the tackle along with Guy Frazier. Two outside linebackers converging on the receiver. First down, Buffalo. 1 minute and 15 seconds to the end of the regular season for these two teams. Our side pass is complete to Booker Moore, and Moore steps out at the 21-yard line. Go for a gain of 7. Guy Frazier was there. Clock is stopped. 1:07 time remaining. Danny Green, our statistician, Mike Leonard and Bill Schwarberg, our spotters. Thank you, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you once again. And it's a little warmer today than it was the last time we were here. Here about a month ago, and it was in the 20s or the 10s with the teens with the wind chill factor. And here it is very comfortable in the upper 60s, low 70s. Second down and 3. 1:07 left to go. He held on to it. Good reception. Was that Julius Dawkins? Yeah. Jimmy Turner was there for the defense. And timeout has been called. Buffalo calling a timeout. Now, in the first half, here's Chris Collinsworth on crutches. Now, he's been bothered by an ankle injury. Ball game at this point was tied 7-7. He picks up 27 yards on this play, Bob. Takes him to the 1-yard line.
Say his left ankle had been bothering him, and it just so happens that something falls on his left ankle. Now, if it would have been his shoulder, probably somebody would have fallen on his shoulder. I don't know why it is, but it seems like whenever you have a bang bruise or a bang knee or an ankle going into the ball game, it seems like that's always the thing that you get banged up again. But the report has been that it's not broken, and that as you see, he's on crutches, and if the Bengals do make the playoffs, they'll have 2 weeks to get it ready.
X-rays are negative, so there is a bit of good news, and this, of course, could ramp up his career as far as Cincinnati is concerned. Regular season, as all of you know by now, I'm sure he has signed a contract with the USFL.
Bengals are going to be hurt next year for if Collinsworth doesn't come back, if Isaac Curtis retires. Last year they lost Dan Ross, if Kim Anderson doesn't come back, or the changing of the guard, so to speak, in Cincinnati.
Pass is complete to the 9-yard line. As you watch the clock, of course, Buffalo would like to end up the game on a high note, and that is as we come down to the closing seconds to end it with a touchdown.
I think that the changing of the guard has happened in Buffalo, too, with Joe Cribbs going to the USFL and Jerry Butler being hurt. If they can get Butler back and get some of these young players, I think they'll be all right.
Rob Riddick to the 1-yard line. There was a fumble right at the end of the play, and Buffalo retains possession. It'll be first down and goal to go at the 1-yard line, 20 seconds and counting. And now Buffalo will stop the clock. Sure, they want the touchdown. I don't blame them. I would too. Dufek has completed 30 of 47 for 250 yards. An opportunity here for us to remind you that the executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer of NFL football, Ted Nathanson. Today's game was produced by Kenneth Edmondson, directed by Andy Rosenberg. Our technical director, Ron Whitaker, and our associate director, Doug Graber. And don't forget, coming up, second half of the doubleheader on NBC. Some of you will be seeing the game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Raiders, and some of you I know that will be watching are Cincinnati Bengal fans. Kansas City, San Diego will be seen in some areas of the country. And of course, now what has happened here, 52-14, Cincinnati has this one. The Raiders and the Steelers will determine the champion of the Central Division. If the Steelers win, then the Steelers are the champions. If the Raiders win, the Raiders are champions. Pete Koch trying to leave the field. Ever left him Kim Minchurki, hollered at him to come back. And Greg Bell goes over the top for the last touchdown of the season for the Buffalo Bills. That is his second of the ball game. So he scores the first touchdown, and what was 14 seconds left on the clock could well be the last of the game. 52-20 with the extra point to come. The Cincinnati Bengals out in front of the Buffalo Bills.
It's been a good year for Greg Bell. Caps it off with a touchdown, and I think he's going to be a great player in this league, Charlie.
I do too.
Boyd's injury.
You know, a nice thing for him, 2 touchdowns in this ball game, his hometown, Columbus, Ohio. Here's the extra point. And he's got it. So Chuck Nelson with the extra point, and that makes the score Cincinnati 52 and Buffalo 21. 14 seconds left. You go with the onside kick and try to get another one? Why not?
Well, as we look at the Buffalo Bills and then the cheerleaders, I think Buffalo is, all they're thinking about is getting back in on the plane and taking about a month off, and then I'm sure they're going to have an off-season program with strength and conditioning. All of the teams in the National Football League now have it. It seems as though if you don't have an off-season program, either strength or running or something, that you're going to be losing a step or two in the off-season. You have to do it just to keep up with everybody else.
Remember that on that touchdown that Pete Koch was trying to come out of the ball game, number 71 for Cincinnati, and the players were hollering to come back in. He came back in. Well, I think we have a quick count of a freeze frame. We can count. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see. I count 11, but I may have now wrote it. Then there may have been one hidden there. Oh, there's number 12. Oh, oops. Gotcha. He was hiding out there. That's all right. scored doubly tough. They would have refused the penalty anyway. The lineup suspiciously like an onside kick. Would you not say? Here we go. Everybody full head of steam. Get the bounce. No. Picked up. Could be a score. James Brooks scooped it up and went out at the 8-yard line. Ten seconds left on the clock. Oh, he wanted that.
You know he was thinking about doing exactly that. He knew they were going to kick it to his side. He says, give me a good bounce and I'll break a tackle and go all the way. Well, it's a happy time right now, Charlie, for the Cincinnati Bengals, because they feel as though they've had a great day. They've had a great half season. They've come back from adversity. Now they're thinking we're just going to go right on into the playoffs, and if the Steelers win, they're out, and they're going to be very upset about it.
Dan David saved the touchdown, and Larry Kinnebrew gets the call, and there it is. It's all over.